evening, people, and welcome to a new shoutcast from Toe. This time we do something really different than the last game you've seen a shoutcast of. It's like the troll game on a War of Justice, where we played. I think nobody played there with a pre-build. It's absolute nonsense, of course, to have pre-builds for that kind of army. This shoutcast, it's like really the opposite, because in order to perform here you need to have an excellent balance of all the resources and units needed to make a perfect game in 60 minutes. It's talking about a challenge Artie put on the forum on knightsemergence.net to create the most bows, train the most bows in 60 minutes. And like in normal games, nobody makes more than 100 bows, I think. So for most of us it was pretty new. A nice challenge to try to improve your own gameplay. Artie is a Dutch player, and he plays with us, I think at the moment, 2 games a week. He's a really nice player. And he can have, I've seen really good games from this guy, also some really bad games, but he is a really good builder, especially when it comes to making a good, big, really efficient spam leather base. It's a big mouthful, but you know what I mean. Not a good player who is capable of doing that is Siem. You've seen him in previous shoutcasts. He's just that kind of guy who can try to beat Artie, and he tried, of course. Some of us tried it multiple times, but it's a really hard challenge, because you need to have, like I said, a perfect balance. Bows, leather jackets and recruits, and if you have like too much recruits, to name something, then it's likely that you do not have enough bows, for instance, or leather jackets. So you really need to have the perfect balance. And you can clearly see what you see from here, that he played this lock so many times. He has an excellent pre-build developed for this build. First post he made was a challenge that nobody could beat more than 112 bows he made. Well, people tried, of course, and some people beat it. I had 118 maximum after a couple of tries. Siem was even better, he had 122, and Mex T, who's like maybe the best Dutch player we have at the moment, at least he's a really good builder, had a maximum of 125 bows produced. It's really a lot. But then Artie, some people call him Don Smarty, but it's not important to know, had tweaked his build in such a way that he can make just a few more extra bows, and he had like the most out at 60 minutes, 127 maximum, and that's really impressive. I've never seen anyone make that amount of bows before on any map. Although this particular replay doesn't represent a real multiplayer game. probably, but he used some tactics you won't see used in multiplayer later on. The location is 5 on a map called Richland, by the way. We used to play it a lot, and it's made by a Polish guy named Sertus, who is inactive now for a very long time. I haven't seen that guy in probably 2 years or so. He made 2 maps. Forgotten Lands is one of it. It's maybe named that way because it's really a forgotten map. Nobody plays it. 4-player map. And the other one he made is this map called Richland. And there are a few players who really like this map. Some players don't like this map at all. I'm not really a big fan of it, like most of us, because the building phase is pretty difficult, annoying, you could say. A good example is this location where you start here with storehouse. It's too few stone here and gold is far away, and it's like strange building on almost all locations. But the biggest complaint from people is that you have 2 leather locks here. People like to play with iron. Artie obviously has no problem with that. He never picks locations on any maps he plays, which is good, I think. But he says that lock 5, Richland, is the only lock he likes to play on. He likes to pick the lock here. So I have no idea how many times he played this map already in multiplayer games, maybe more single player tries, no idea. About this build, what I noticed is that normally people go for that gold here up in the top right of the map, but he gets his gold from here. It's really interesting. He was pretty quick with his farms. He built one here, saw in fields here. This one was up pretty fast as well. He will make a total of 7 farms, and he will let it run on 5 big farms. That's kind of interesting, I think. He will make a total of 11 woodcutters on 6 sawmills. Maybe adds another one later on, I'm not really sure, we have to see. And the nice thing about this location is probably why you can get so much bows out here, is that you don't need to even put up a butcher for sausage, because you have really large amount of fish here. This lake, for instance, holds 80 fish, but it's actually normally shared between this player here, and even player here claims the fish sometimes. So he can use it all alone. Plus the 20 fish here is like 100 fish total, and that is enough to survive till peacetime. So you eat fish alone, and of course the starting food you begin with, and the pigs he will trade later on for leather. You can see it is 1 to 1. It's a pretty good trade. So he set up 2 tanneries who will run with 4 armory workshops, and because of the trade he can set up another armory workshop. So you have a maximum input of leather jackets which in my opinion was the most difficult part of this challenge. You see at this point only 18 minutes left. It's not that much in the barracks at the moment, so it's all about spamming big time. You see it's after 42 minutes, like a little late with his second school, but then to be sure he puts 2 extra schools, so he has 3 total on 3 gold smelters to ensure him to have enough recruits peacetime. You see, it starts later than his production weapons, but schools like run faster, get recruits faster in than weapons. The last building he makes is even a second market. We can trade later on if he has more bows than jackets. He can trade for it, like here, pretty close to the barracks. He uses 2 things I like to call mully tactics. They improve this challenge in amount of units in the barracks a bit, but are not really used in multiplayer games. One of them is destroying your stonemasons, your quarries, so your builders don't eat in the inn, to prevent starvation. Another one is that, and that is one I never seen before, Artie came up with it. It's like set your woodcutters and cut only, and you calculate the time when trees are growing, and from 48 minutes onwards the time for a woodcutter to plant a tree, start growing, is too small to have them cut before peacetime. If it sets it on cut only, you have like a maximum input tree trunks in the last minutes of the game. So you see he has a 6th weapon maker. Has the 5 armory workshops. They run pretty efficiently. Food, yeah, it's really balancing on the edge. It's really the last seconds are really important. And here we have it. It's like a perfect balance. 127 bows he made in 60 minutes. It's pretty impressive. Well done. Welcome back to part 2 of the Master Builder series. This one I made after Artie made his on Richland. log 5 with the bows. I'm not really a leather boy myself, so I thought let's do something with iron. So I made up a challenge who can make the most crossbows at 60 minutes, including recruits of course. I ended up on Back in the Desert as a good map to try it on. And you can try it on this location, which has a lot of iron mines possible, or even this location who has even more. But I chose to do it on this log because I know this log very well. I like to play here and I know how it works. Like Artie says about his challenge, if you know your log well enough, and then especially with the timber and trees around your storehouse, if you can manage it well, you can know when you can build and what buildings you can make at what time, then you can play a log much better. Well, I know this log pretty well. I like to play here, even though it's a really strange location. Most people who play on this log, they think starting trees around storehouse are too low, so they go for left trees almost right away. But I like to keep it small, so I set up with school quarry and a woodcutter, then 2 more woodcutters here for planting, then a sawmill, some more quarries. Really early gold mine. And this first woodcutter is cutting some trees, but you can see also planting some trees. By the time I set another woodcutter up here, trees when they are gone, I have about new trees here down to the south. But you need of course to be careful what you build. You cannot build like 10 coal mines right away at this point. But it's important, especially for a challenge like this, to start pretty early with your iron. Gold smelter up, well, I still have gold chest in the storehouse. I can keep on training builders and serfs. Yeah, I will make no more than 20 builders. It's already more than enough probably for the small build I'm planning to make here. I will not make a big production for food, since I don't have to go for leather. Starting food is pretty high, but still I need to make some food, so I set up early bakery to prevent starvation. And of course the amount of crossbows you can get out depends heavily on how much iron mines you put up. So I put up 3 at this point. If I would make like 5, then probably the iron will stack up and it's a waste of time. It's really important to process it all in a smooth way. And that's why I, even though it costs like a lot of resource, I set up my barracks this early. Yeah, and I make this complete base on 2 sawmills only. I'll make a third one, but it's like 50 minutes or so. You notice I set up some armory smithies earlier than the weapon smithy. It's also because they work slower. I'll build even one extra armor smithy. I will balance out with building more weapon smithies later on. But it's really hard to balance it since they run slower than the weapon smithy. Oh, and by the way, I read something on the forum that Ben said something about that this map is not played much in a competitive way or something like that. I think it's not true. This map is probably played most, especially on a competitive level through the years. What I can understand is that this map is not your average Curse of Iron kind of gameplay, because it's really, some locks are really iron based and others are more made for big leather spam. But maybe he was trolling, I don't know. See, there are much more armors coming in compared to weapons, especially when I have 3 to 1 at this point. Yeah, it's really time to go for second gold. And I will even put up 2 extra gold mines here, so I can set up 3 gold smelters. And you can let it run on 2 schools. Then you need to set up your second school at least at the 42-minute mark. But I really still need to focus on iron if I want to have like a lot of crossbows out. So I will set up a market, another iron smelter, and then I trade believe it or not, leftover timber, because I'm almost done building. The timber is stacking up. Timber for iron ore. So I can set up another weapon smithy. So important for this build is that you set up your iron weapon production really fast, but you also need to to let it run really efficient. You can actually set it up too fast, in my opinion. If you set it up but you don't have enough coal mines, then it's really useless. So I put my coal for 2 coals for each building. Iron, it's like the same. So I know that, for instance, a building like this also has enough coal inside. You can see food is low, but it's no problem, since I only have 65 serves. It's not too much, but it's like a really small build, as you can see. And like I said before, it's really hard to balance out the amount of armors compared to the amount of crossbows. But for now I'm trading timber for iron ore. I have set up a total of 6 iron smelters. And then when I saw I had like too much armor compared to weapons, I set up this one extra weapon smithy. This is all running on 16 coal mines. And near peacetime I use some time to do some shortcuts and extra roads. Yeah, I try to do this without the so-called mully tactics, like destroying your quarries, because I know when this was like a real multiplayer game, then right after peacetime all my coal will be depleted, so I need to build extra coal mines here. And you keep on spamming like that even after peacetime, but it's not for 2-hour gaming, of course. Way more coal for that. And in the last minutes of the game I stopped trading for iron ore, since it needs some time to be processed by the iron smithy, then go to the weapon smithy, etc. It's better to trade directly to crossbows. So I made here 123 crossbows in 60 minutes. So I hope you learned a thing or two from this Master Builder series. I'm planning to do some more. Depends on the challenges you came up, of course. So I hope you like this one. Take care.